Elite Facts presents
Unbelievable things the world is running low on.
10.
Helium. It's that magic gas that's lighter than air and lets all our lovely party balloons float and fly high in the sky. It can also make a house travel to Paradise Falls, if Pixar are to be believed. But next time you think about messing around with helium balloons, think again, because the gas is actually quite a precious commodity. The gas is actually a byproduct of radioactive decay, and the process to create is painfully slow. Millions of years so slow, in fact.
9.
How can blood be on short supply? We all have it in our bodies, so surely there's a never-ending supply? Well, the problem is that we're just not giving enough of it away to those who need it. The problem is that Chinese blood markets have had to become so severely restricted because of disease and the black market trading that there's a worldwide blood shortage, aka blood famine. Try not to cut yourselves on anything, you need every last drop.
8.
In what might be a strange addition to the list, panobarbital is more likely than something you've never heard of. The drug is used in lethal injections and has been used over 500 times to put inmates to death in Texas. The problem isn't with the drug itself, it's with the companies providing it taking a stance against lethal injection and capital punishment. It'll hopefully bring about more discussions based around the use into the public's eye.
7.
Antibiotics are a staple for the world, but as the human race starts to build up an immunity to the drug, it becomes a case of creating new strains to help us fight off illness. A disconnected industry means lack of communication among manufacturers, pharmacists, and physicians. As a result, medicine is in short supply all over the world. The problem got so bad in Venezuela that the government has introduced a fingerprinting requirement at pharmacies to essentially ration out medicine. Over 140 types of antibiotics experienced shortages over the last 10 years alone, and it's getting worse.
6.
Over 70% of the Earth is covered by water, and yet we still have a shortage of it? Okay, so nearly all of it is salt water. It doesn't mean we couldn't convert it, right? Global warming is causing less rainfall to add to the misery, and also drying up the freshwater supplies that already exist. Predictions say that even normal rainfall across the US over the next decade would still see all states experience some kind of drought shortage at some point. It's estimated that by 2025, almost 2/3 of the world may have little or no access to fresh water.
5.
Starbucks lovers, be warned. Coffee is in a shortage. There aren't many people who head to work for the 9-to-5 slog who don't need a cup of joe to get them going, so this will be the worst news possible for them. The problem is that we've suddenly become a world of coffee consumers, and we're completely exceeding the supply compared to the demand. If the coffee-producing countries hit any more bad weather, that could spell disaster, and we'll all need to start drinking tea.
4.
There's a pattern emerging in this video, and it's based around the medical arena, and it's where we're at again here. This time, it's doctors. Blame it on the disgustingly long working hours, a growing population, increasing rates of certain health problems like cancer, awful treatment by those meant to look after them, the alleged bullying and poor treatment of junior staff. But they're in short supply. By 2025, it's predicted that the USA will be short around 90,000 physicians. We won't just be relying on WebMD to give us a diagnosis anymore. You'll need it to do your operations for you, too.
3.
Ever wondered where bricks come from? Well, now they might come from nowhere, as certain housing markets are running low on them. It's the UK that has a serious shortage, and this is where most are used for housing developments. This shortage comes at a time when the British government has promised to build over 500,000 new homes per year in an effort to bring down skyrocketing house prices. It's proving difficult to build houses without house building materials, and as a couple little pigs taught us, straw and sticks just won't do the trick.
2.
Once again, we find another beloved item on the list. This time, it's everyone's favorite sweet snack: chocolate. I hear a collective sound of hearts breaking as they hear it, but it's true. Mainly due to climate change, production of cacao beans has hit a real low by a huge 40% in some areas. The same problem as coffee here, as demand completely outweighs the supply. The other problem that comes with this news is that it means chocolate prices are now going up. What a terrible piece of news.
1.
This might not be relevant for most, but if you were after a good bourbon in the next 20 years, you're out of luck. 20 years ago, bourbon just wasn't very popular. In the 70s and 80s, bourbon was your father's drink, or worse, your grandfather's. Fearing a shortage, most of the best bourbon was bought up by people who could afford it, ironically causing that shortage. Suddenly in recent years, bourbon became cool to drink again, thanks at least in part to shows like Mad Men. Demand for whiskey and bourbon has increased almost 70% in the last decade, making the best of the spirit pretty scarce.
Thanks for watching another amazing video, folks. Subscribe for more from Elite Facts.